Hello, this is Tim Campsa with TBC Action Coach of Indiana with our Business Spotlight series. The purpose is to interview local business owners and promote them through our social channels and email database. This is a free service we're providing because when every small business is strong, the economy is strong. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Bryant. Welcome, Bryant. Great to have you on the program today.
Thank you, Tim. It's great to be here.
Fantastic. Well, let's start with having you introduce yourself and tell us a little of your background.
Sure. My name is Bryant Gatz. I am a loan officer, sales manager, branch manager now of Fairway Independent Mortgage here in Indianapolis, specifically Carmel, Indiana. And I've been in the industry for 24 years, and I am classified as a mortgage banker. So,
fantastic. So tell us a little of your background story. Tell us about your family, where are you originally from, all that fun stuff.
Fun stuff. All right, good. Well, originally, I was born in Oak Park, Illinois, and lived there till I was 5 years old. We moved around the lake, so to speak, over to St. Joe, Benton Harbor, specifically lived in Sister Lakes, Michigan. So just north of South Bend by about 40 minutes or so. Attended Lake Michigan Catholic High School there, left and went to Heidelberg University in Tiffin, Ohio, played baseball and football there. Moved to South Bend, Indiana for a pharmaceutical sales job. Once I was out of that, actually I should back up for just a moment. That job brought me to Indianapolis. So I moved to South Bend, and that job specifically brought me to Indianapolis area, and I've been here ever since. I'm happily married with a beautiful wife, Allison. I have 3 daughters, Bailey, Sydney, and Mia. So yeah, I'm totally outmanned in my house, if that helps. I have no say in whatsoever happens. So we've been married now for, almost 18 years. So pretty awesome, and just happy to be here. Love Fishers. I get back home to Michigan quite often and spend a lot of time in Illinois as well. So
wonderful. So you're out, man. Sometimes I hear people say that they get a male pet to offset that. Do you have any pets?
Yeah, funny enough, my wife bought me a Great Dane, and so yes, and he was a male. He is now more of an it at this point, but yeah, so she took care of that one after a year. But yeah, that's exactly it. She bought the dog, which is kind of fun. So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
So Brian, fun question that I'd like to ask folks is, give us your 60-second commercial for your business.
Sure. Well, I'll just what BNI and things that we do, right? That's pretty much something we do weekly. So hello, my name is Bryant Gatz. I'm with Fairway Independent Mortgage. I specialize in mortgage refinancing and purchases alike. We do have a commercial division as well. And this week, who do you know that is looking at interest rates? Who's interested in refinancing or purchasing? I'd love an opportunity to talk to them. Specifically, I'd love an introduction to Deb Rannick. Deb is somebody that I work with. That's what we basically ask for, is a specific person at that point in time. But anybody that's looking for information on the market and interest rate, is it worth refinancing? What's it take to pre-qualify or get pre-approved, if you will? And so that is what I'm looking for this week, and would love an opportunity to talk to them or meet with them.
Wonderful. Awesome. So Brian, give us a little bit more detail on who's your best customer or your best client. Who do you serve? We call that a target audience.
Target audience for me is, we always talk about the golden goose versus the golden egg, right? And for me, the golden goose is always going to be either a builder or a realtor, somebody like that. Somebody that is transferring in from a different state. I am licensed in 9 different states as well. And so anybody that's transient, moving within the donut states, if you will, or Florida, is a great opportunity to work with them as well. So
wonderful. So COVID has had an impact on the world over the past 12 months. So what's the greatest impact it's had on your business?
Well, that's a great question. And you think about the way the industries are going nowadays, not just mine, but businesses in general. The brick and mortar days are, dwindling. It's easier to work remotely with what we're doing now, a Zoom video or a team video, something like that. So the biggest impact that COVID had is pulling us out of the market, or pulling me out of the face-to-face meetings. So you have to come up with another creative way to do it, which is videos, or maybe you can do a pop by and you see somebody, but you got a social distance and you're in masks and everybody's looking at you. If you got glasses, a hat, and a mask on, nobody even knows who you are anymore, right? So, from that perspective, the biggest impact is really just pulling me out of the field and making me do a lot of things virtually. Now we're engineered to do that in the industry with technology and things like that. But that's been the biggest challenge for us as a team and as a company. You think of other companies, there's a company that comes to mind, I'll leave them out of this, but they are all virtual. They always have been. They were ahead of the curve. And I think a lot of us were kind of catching up with the times, if you will. So the biggest thing is really just trying to get back in front of people a little bit more. But that's been the biggest challenge.
So we've all had to pivot to figure out a way to survive through the pandemic. What's something that you've done to pivot to make a difference in your business, and how's that been working for you?
Well, business coaching, right? I mean, plug for Mr. Tim Campbell here. It's been the biggest impact on my life in general. 12 and a half years of business coaching has gotten me to this point. Building a team, being able to follow structure and create processes and procedures has allowed me to really move ahead with my career. We just talked earlier before we got online here about taking a vacation and unplugging, right? And being able to turn it over to the team and trust and know that your business won't fail if you're gone for a week, right? So the deals aren't going to stop coming in the door. And so that's really the biggest impact is just really being able to let go of things, turn it over to the team, let things take its normal course because you've done things the right way. It's taken time. It's not an easy transition, especially if you're trying to run a business, but that's been one of the biggest things that's impacted our business and what we've done.
Congratulations on investing in yourself. So how did it feel to be able to unplug for the first time while you were on vacation?
It was incredible. We were talking about this. If you don't mind, I'm gonna share for just a minute. I had 2 incidences. That's it. The entire week that I really had to get involved. A total of maybe 15 to 20 minutes. That's it. One was a quick phone call, literally 5, 6, 7 minutes. I was off the phone. Another were 2 texts, and it was done and over with. Right. So it was amazing. I know my wife appreciated it too. I'm not sure, sometimes they like when I'm off and they can do their own thing, but no, all kidding aside, they love the fact that I don't have to always be on call. So it was an amazing, amazing trip. So thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. So how long has it been since you've been able to do that?
Oh, wow. Well, I've been doing this now for 24 years. So I don't know that there's a time that I've ever been that successful at disconnecting. And the biggest thing is recharging. Business coaching, yourself especially, you'll talk about you need to work. And when you unplug, right? And you have to, because mentally you're just drained. And if you don't recharge the batteries. And it's so imperative. And I can tell you, I had a great day yesterday, first day back in the office, super productive. We had 5 deals that were triggered in one day, which is just amazing. So it's a game changer. It is absolutely a game changer to be able to get to the point where you can just let go and let things, trust the team and trust the process.
Fantastic. Congratulations on that. And so happy that you were able to unplug and just enjoy that time with your family. So Brian, here's an interesting question. It's been said that smart people learn from their mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So what's a mistake you've made along the way that you'd be willing to share so that other entrepreneurs can learn from your experience?
Right. Another great question, Tim. And I mean, we've got 10 fingers here. So, 4 on each hand. So I get 8 the thumbs, but, there's been a lot, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. You've got to learn from your mistakes, right? The analogy that I would use is a baseball player is considered successful if he hits a ball and gets on base 33% of the time, right? So you're gonna miss more than you connect. And so the biggest mistake that I made was not getting into coaching sooner. And this is not a plug for coaching per se, but yet it is. Being able to let go. I held on for too long. And so the faster and sooner you realize that you can work on your business and not in your business. I mean, that if I had to pick one singular thing, and like I said, 12 and a half years of business coaching, and I'm a slow learner, right? So, but it truly and honestly made a world of difference. And my wife questioned it sometimes because it's not a cheap investment, but it is the best investment that you can make. And for me, the ability to pull myself out, we just talked about my vacation, right? And being able to disconnect, because when you're a type A personality, such as yourself or myself, or anybody that's a business entrepreneur, you want to, you're the business, you're it, right? And you want to control things. And the sooner you delegate and you realize that, hey, if they can do this as 80% as well as I can, then let them run with it, right? And you can pick up the pieces and kind of go from there. So the biggest mistake that I've made is not working on the business sooner in my career than what I have. That is the singular most impactful thing that I've learned. And I kick myself. I'm like, man, if I'd have just done this like 15 or 20 years ago, think of where I would have been, right? But hindsight's always 2020. So I really just building a team and understanding that you need help and great people around you. My team gets more kudos from more people than I do, because they truly do, most of the work. My job, it's a lot to manage. It's a lot to oversee and to hire, and there's all sorts of different processes you got to learn, but it's amazing when you have the right people in place, what can be done. So thank you.
I was reading this, a book the other day, and it said, the essence of it was, would you rather have somebody spend 100% of their time on something that's important to your business, or you to spend 5% of your time on it?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And the question would be, I want to spend 5% of my time on it. They can spend 100, right?
Right.
So let them do it. Right.
Yeah.
And once you get that concept, it's amazing. It truly, letting go is the biggest thing, right? I don't know why it is like that. And boy, if you figure that out, Tim, you might be, we might not have this conversation anymore. Just call me, tell me what island you're on and I'll come visit. But that's the biggest impact. It's been a game changer. And I'm glad I realized it now. Better late than never, right?
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
I'm going through a mindset coaching program right now. And one of the things that they say in that is to just remind ourselves when we get frustrated about the woulda, coulda, shoulda, is to remind ourselves that we're exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Really, things happen the way they happen. Mm-hmm. And again, you'd mentioned it earlier, what did you learn from? What did you take away? If every situation you can just grasp that little nugget and not embrace change. That'd be another thing, right? Because that's the other thing that's difficult for all of us is we get set and we're like, oh, this is great. It's working, and I used to question that all the time. And in my pharmaceutical sales experience, they would change my territory all the time. I'd go in and I'd set up an account. I'd be great. Hey, this is just going to add to my commissions. I'm great. This is awesome. They love me. Set them up on our biological product specialist order program. And then 2 months later, they take it away from me and readjust my territory. I got to start all over again. Right. So we hate change. We're adverse to change, but the sooner you can embrace it and realize that it can be for the better. That's another little tidbit. So I like that you brought that up.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing those key learnings. I know other folks will benefit from your insights. So second last question here, Bryant, we'll get your contact information, make sure to include that along with this video. But is there anything else that you want to make sure that we cover today, or what's the best way for folks to find out how you can help them?
Well, the biggest way obviously is reach out, right? And have a conversation. And that's the thing, is a conversation is free. Like my time is valuable, right? Everybody's time is valuable. But we have processes and procedures in place. We know the right questions to ask. So, I'm interested in buying a home. I've never done it before. That's okay. One of the things that we do is I say, hey, Tim, in this conversation, what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that you want to pull out of this conversation to make it productive and successful for you? Because the conversation is not for me. I know my job, right? I mean, I've been doing it for 24 years. I'm licensed. I better. Otherwise, I'm starving. But in having those conversations and getting those answers, you basically would dictate what needs to be done. So, reaching out to me, just saying, hey, I'm open to a conversation. It could be as short as 5 or 10 minutes. It could be as long as 20 to 25 or 30. But that's really the crux of it. Really just have that deep, meaningful conversation. And Brad King is another person that's super, super good at this, right? You might not need me now, right? But you might need me in the future. So I'd rather arm you with the right information, because there's some misinformation, a lot of misinformation, and there's a ton of information on what I do out there on the web, right? So you get varying opinions and stories. And the one thing that I can do every night is put my head on my pillow and go to sleep, knowing that I've given somebody the right advice, right? I'm not giving anybody, because I treat them the same way I want to be treated. I want the information. I want to know what to do. What's the best way to approach this? So a little bit of planning and not being totally reactionary is always a good thing, right? And now in this industry, it's more important than ever. So a pre-approval conversation before you go look for a house is beneficial.
Wonderful. Last question here, Bryant. What's been most inspiring to you during all the craziness of the past year?
Wow. The biggest thing I'm going to tell you right now, and this is going to be more personal than businesses, is my wife's support. Right. And you might say, well, doesn't everybody have their wife's support or their spouse's support? And the hours that I've worked, the time that I've had to put in, in the middle of COVID, I not only am working with my own branch now, I have my own office. I've merged a team with another very good friend of mine and business partner. And to go through all of that in the middle of COVID, right? And we literally signed our lease April 1st, right? COVID's here, right? Changing out offices and getting them done. My wife has just been amazing. And so the biggest impact is having her support and saying, hey, just go do it, get it done, in the sacrifice that she's made and the understanding. Now I've been able to work from home, which is great, right? So I have a complete office at the house now. But that was probably the biggest impact, knowing that I had my wife's blessing just to go do what I had to get done. And it's paid huge dividends for all of us. And again, even the vacation, right? That's the proof's in the pudding, as they say, right? So it's been a monumental task for me to make sure that the family's taken care of, but more importantly, have my wife's approval and my family's approval to get things done the way I need to get them done.
Yeah, it is certainly a blessing. I'm so happy to hear that you've got that support network. Bryant, that does conclude our interview. For those listening, if you've heard something that piqued your interest, please reach out to Bryant. Take advantage of that opportunity to have that free call with him. Ask the questions, dig in, understand what you need to know. He's going to provide you with a bunch of information that you didn't even know you needed to know, give you an eyes wide open perspective on the mortgage industry, what to do, what not to do. As he mentioned earlier, he takes an above and beyond approach to making sure that he's guiding and directing you for what's right for you, as opposed to what's right for his pocketbook. So please take advantage of that opportunity to connect with him and determine whether or not you are ready to make your purchase. For everybody that appears on this show, we do offer a complimentary coaching session for them or somebody they know. So Bryant, we'll talk about that offline.
Awesome.
It's been an absolute pleasure learning about you and your business, and I wish you tremendous success.
Thank you, Tim. It's been a pleasure being here. You're a great friend and you're a great coach. So appreciate your time as well.
Awesome. Well, have yourself a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks, Tim.
All right. Take care. Awesome.